Now, the type of joint arrangement or agreement that is being made, Larsen & Toubro is India's largest construction conglomerate, and you start promoting some more interesting factors to them. This all the details have to be presented, and then only we will be able to give. Good morning and welcome to the session 8 in unit 5, where we are going to speak about international financial reporting standards on disclosure of interest in other entities. Now, this is going to come under the Indian Accounting Standards of 112. Now, let's have a look into this Indian Accounting Standards, which tells about why an entity needs to disclose information about the significant judgments and assumptions that it has made, and those judgments, whatever has been made, has to be declared as per the Indian Accounting Standard 112. Now, the factor of disclosure needs to go with this factor saying that the control of another entity. So suppose a company is going to purchase another company. Let's talk about a case of merger or acquisition where one company takes over the another company. That means the word control of another entity comes into picture. Followed by, it has a joint control on arrangement or significant influence. So a parent company controlling its another venture. So at that point of time, it's mandatory that we start reporting with the Indian Accounting Standard AS 112. Now, the type of joint arrangement or agreement that is being made, which has been structured in that format, then the disclosure about the entity becomes important. Now, the standard is primarily for all those companies who have enough joint ventures, who have enough identity in terms of controlling their stakes, controlling their ideas in different business. Now, if I look into an example here, let's talk about Reliance or the Adani Group, who have got their interest in diversified business. So when they are going to report that standards into the market, they need to follow all the rules that have been set up here, because the parent company might be involved in a particular activity, but then the other organizations have a different reporting structure or a standard that needs to be followed. Now, moving further, let's talk about the objectives. When a parent determines that it has an investment entity in accordance to AS 110, the investment entity shall disclose the information about significant judgments and the assumptions it made in determining its investment entity. Now, for example, let's look into the company called as L&T. Larsen & Toubro is India's largest construction conglomerate. Now, this company has got several entities and ideas and investment altogether. The same company has also an information technology company, the L&T Infotech. They also have a company which talks about the L&T Capital, that is the financial holding services. So when a parent company is going to make an investment into another company, it has to tell the public very clearly on what basis what that judgment made. Why was I interested to move from a construction business to a capital financing business? Why was I interested from a construction real estate to that of technology business or to that of education business? The reason is that there might be several factors which make me really interested to run a business. But then from the accounting standards, I need to disclose everything to the public, telling why these investments are made. So that is why the objective of disclosure comes into picture. Followed by, if the investment entity does not have one or more typical characteristics of investment, the entity, it shall disclose its reasons for concluding, and it's nevertheless an entity investment altogether. Now, there is the factor altogether. If it does not have one or more characteristics, it can still go ahead, disclose it, but then it is not going to be considered as a complete investment factor altogether. So we have to understand at this juncture, the investment that is being made by a parent towards any supporting organization has to be valued, has to be disclosed. Then only we will be able to proceed further, and we will be able to give the public a complete transparent picture. Followed by, when we talk about the objectives, we also need to know the total fair value as on date of status. That is where we are trying to speak about, and what are all the governing factors that are coming into picture so that we get a complete consolidated value on date. Followed by which the total gain or loss is also needs to be calculated, and in accordance to Indian Accounting Standard 110. The line item in profit or loss in which the loss or gain is reorganized. So this is very, very important for all of us to know. Why? Because when we talk about that profit and loss scenario, it has to be 100% true, where we have to be presenting it separately, where we have to tell it very clearly that what is the exact challenge under which we are facing. So now, when we talk about fair value, when we talk about the gain or loss and the profit and loss scenario, all the details have to be presented, and then only we will be able to give a complete consolidated picture in terms of running the balance sheet. Now, moving further, the Indian Accounting Standard AS 112 requires that an entity should disclose information that enables the user to consider the following financial conditions. Composition of the group. What level is the composition of the group? When you talk about Reliance, when you talk about Adani, when you talk about Godrej, when you talk about L&T, these are all the largest conglomerate groups in India, like Tata, like the Birla, like the Ashok Leyland. These are all people who have a very, very strong composition of the company. They have got interest in various sectors, and they are well diversified companies altogether. The interest that non-controlling interest, the group activities and the cash flows, in what level are they having their control, and the non-controlling activities, including the cash flows, have to be told very clearly to the public. Because based on that, they are going to make the decision altogether. The nature and extent of significant restrictions on its ability to use the access and the assets factor that has to be mentioned. Now, what happens is that just because I have bought out a company, that doesn't mean that the parent company can take any rights over its child or its another organization. So there needs to be a control in terms of telling what is the accessibility levels of using that particular asset, of using that particular cash flow, and in what ways are we turning around this cash flows altogether, because these factors have to be enabled very clearly in the accounting standards, so that going forward the organization is able to give out a sound decision platform to the investors. Now, moving further, the nature and the changes in risk associated with it, the interest factors in terms of the consolidated structures of entities, followed by the consequences of changes in its own ownership and the consequences of losing control. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to go as detailed as possible into the scenario. We want every one of us to understand that in case when an entity holds the changes, or when an entity changes the structure, or when an entity loses the control, what are all the impact that could happen in terms of the investor mind. So when a company goes forward and makes a statement in the market saying that I am going to sell off my stake in the particular company, or when a company goes ahead and says that I am going to have a controlling stake over a next company, these are all impactful decisions that would be taken up by an organization which could create ripples in the market. So that's why the accounting standard says it very clearly and importantly that you need to disclose even the minute details of how an investor will come into picture and what decisions need to be made. Followed by the interest in the joint agreements or the ARR when we talk about the entities. So annual rate of return is very, very important. So interest in unconsolidated subsidiaries, the Indian accounting standard AS 112 that requires that an investment entity in accordance with the AS 110 is required to apply in exception to the consolidation instead of accounts of its investment. That's very, very important here. In a subsidiary at a fair value through profit or loss coming into picture. For each unconsolidated subsidiary, an investment entity shall disclose its subsidiary's name, the principal place of the business, so where we are doing the business, how we are doing the business, the nature and scope, what are all its subsidiaries' name, the location factor, all these things have to be disclosed very, very clearly so that when you look into the balance sheet, you have a complete picture of how the things are moving. Followed by the proportion of ownership. Certain companies might say it is a 70-30, they might say it's a 52-48. What is the ratio under which we are talking about? So what is the controlling stake that we are talking about in terms of the voting rights? Because when it comes to the board of directorship, the voting rights and the nomination factors comes into picture. If an investment entity is the parent of another investment entity, the parent should also provide the above disclosures that they are and controlled by the investment factor. So this is how when you start looking in depth into the accounting standards, it makes us very, very clear to understand that whenever a company is taking over another company or it is trying to prove to get into an investment factor, it needs to disclose every single entity details so that they are able to create a transparent image in the mind of the investors. Followed by an investment that is being made which is required for the disclosures regarding the nature and extent of any restrictions or ability here. Plus they should also talk about the transfer of funds to the investment entity, any repayment of loans or advances that has been taken, or any disclosure in terms of the unconsolidated subsidiary by investment entity, or any current commitments. All these factors in terms of providing financial support, in terms of governing their losses or any financial holdings, all these factors have to be told clearly in the balance sheet. Why? Because initially when you're doing a buyout, there might be scenario where you take over their loans, you take over their advances, and you start promoting some more interesting factors to them. You start supporting them by providing a huge amount of financial inflow altogether. So when the money gets transferred from the parent company to that of the new company or the new entity with a controlling stake coming into picture, it needs to be disclosed, and we need to know how the financial transactions are planned according to the company. Now, with this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that this session was of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we will be seeing more about the accounting standards that are making a big impact in the modern corporate world. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.